Hey, it's Domain Dave again, cheapwinefinder.com, with another wine review podcast. 3 times a week, we write them up on the cheapwinefinder.com website, and 3 times a week, we do a podcast. And today I've got a wine. Well, we have it because I walked through a wine shop and it was on sale. And it's one of my favorites. And there's some good reasons to talk about it. It's the Gruet Brut sparkling wine. It's a non-vintage wine, and Gruet, if you don't know, is from New Mexico. And it was founded by Gilbert Gruet, who had a champagne house since 1967, and before that, I think he was growing grapes for the big wine houses too. Gruet et Fil was his, and he decided he wanted to branch out. And I was talking to some winemakers a while back, and they said there's a whole French colony in New Mexico up in the mountains, and that's where this wine came from. And it's a really good place. Mountains areas, especially in France, there's some good places that you're near on mountainsides. It's just one of the good places in the world to grow grapes. Now, the thing about it is, I think he started making wine in 1989, and this is the 35th anniversary of their start, 2024. And by 1999, they sold 1 million bottles. It was a huge success. It's been sold to Precept Wines in 2014 because they outgrew New Mexico. They had to get grapes from Columbia Valley in California, and Precept is the largest independent winery in the Northwest. And I think they got a lot of wine. This wine is 80% Chardonnay and 20% Pinot Noir, which is a good classic Brut Champenoise, Method Champenoise wine, which is the same way they make it in Champagne. This is Gilbert Gruet was a French champagne producer. I'm just going to take a sip. The color is pale gold. It's very nice, and it's got teeny tiny bubbles the way it should be. And it's a little bready, it's a little yeasty, a little bit, but it's mostly lemons and grapefruit and peaches and pears and that type of thing. A little flower. It's really well balanced. It really has good acidity. It's got nice structure and good length, and the flavors are nice. It's got peach and pear and lemon curd, softer lemon, juicy apple, some dried pineapple. You don't get that big thing. Some stone fruit, yeasty bread, a little bit of creaminess here and there, just a touch. Nothing. A good champagne shouldn't be jumping out at you. It's not a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. And I got it for $11.99. Now, it normally sells lists for $18. I think it's probably kind of on sale all the time, and actually coming up at $11.99. This is an embarrassing good deal. I mean, this is a bubbly that, in my mind, you can stand up to the entry level, I call them, of the French champagnes. Hard to call a $35, $40 wine entry level, but this wine in its own right stands up to them. I mean, not that they're bad, they're good. So is this. And it hardly cost anything, and it has the same 18 months in second fermentation. And if we're up until this year, a member, even though they sold off the Precept, a member of the Gruet family was the leading winemaker, and I think this is the first year one of the team members took over. I'm getting another sip. Which might be a good reason to start, for me anyway, to start revisiting them. I don't know. These are non-vintage wines, so it's going to be hard to tell when someone took over and what somebody did. And non-vintage wine for Bubbly is common until you get into the higher end, because this is the house style. This is the style that Gilbert Gruet made in 1989, his first wine. This is his representation of what he wanted his bubbly to be. In virtually every place, the Brut, the basic model, is the house style, and everything kind of goes off that. All the non-vintage wines. The vintage dated wines, they're supposed to be expressions of the vineyard a little bit. They could be all individual, but the non-vintage wines have this flavor profile as their base. So it's always a good one to try. If you're looking, you've got a selection. I know sometimes you go for Rosé or Blanc de Blanc or whatever, or Blanc Noir. See, I know all the French words. But the Brut is usually the one that gives you the clues to what's going on. It's usually the one you should do first. Come take another sip. This $12 bubbly, and good $12 bubbly, made by a Frenchman in New Mexico of all things, is wonderful. I really like this, and it's fun to drink. It makes bubblies accessible to everybody. And also, this is a wine that you can have on New Year's Eve. This is a wine that you can have a toast for an anniversary, a wedding. This is a special occasion wine. It just doesn't cost like a special occasion wine. I know a lot of people, well, if it doesn't cost this much money, then the sentiment's not as good. No, the wine's the part that has to be good, and it's up to you to make the sentiment good. So that's it for me, Domain Dave, cheapwinefighter.com. I've got I've got a Pinot Noir from Willamette Valley that was Wine Enthusiast's #1 wine on their top 100 Best Buy list this year. And we'll see if Wine Enthusiast knows what they're talking about. They usually do. So that's it for me. Adios. Keep it cheap. And after that, we'll probably do some Halloween party wines. I got a couple in mind. So adios. Keep it cheap, and I'll be talking to everybody in a couple of days.